Never whip these boys if you don't keep you and them separate. I found that out in Birmingham. You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
Eugene Bull O'Connor is who you just saw on that clip. I'm going to show you a little more so you can see the rest of that speech. But remember in the last video, I stated that we're going to find out any MAGA pastor, any MAGA YouTube prophet, any MAGA teacher, any of them that claim to be Christian. We're going to find out if they really racist or not. I'm going to pose the question, so don't you go nowhere. You don't want to miss it. We're going to talk about it. So let's look at the rest of this clip of this guy.
Never whip these boys if you don't keep you and them separate. I found that out in Birmingham. You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
After 3 days of sit-ins, there are more than 300 arrests. But Bull Connor has a plan to roadblock the demonstrators.
You know, those Kennedys, up there in Washington, that little old Bobby Sox and his brother, the president, they'd give anything in the world if we had some trouble here. If we don't have any trouble, we can beat them at your own game.
And there you have him. He was the commissioner over the police force and the fire department. He had the authority to do both. And he sicked the dogs, which we won't show here, and the fire hoses on kids and everybody. And next thing you know, the Civil Rights Act within a year or so came into play because of all of his craziness. The nation was outraged when they saw that. And why I'm talking about this on this particular video, I got a couple of videos that we're going to talk about. We're going to refute the argument once again that America was founded as a Christian nation with some whole new video evidence that I'm going to show you some things. And right here, I'm talking to every MAGA-style preacher, any MAGA-style Christian that is on a YouTube platform. That's who we're talking about, or wherever they are, if they claiming to be Christian. Now, I know before you try to attack me that, the racism, that I understand that there is racism within my community. Within the black community, yes, there's racism. In the Latino community, yes, there's racism. There's racism in every area, but especially in my community where I was talking to my 32-year-old son, and he was telling us how we, as many of us blacks, we are racist towards other whites and everything else. We have that too. But here's the thing. Before you don't try to attack me or whatever these things, we're talking about folks that proclaim to love the Lord, proclaim to be ambassadors for Jesus Christ, proclaim to be a Christian. That's who we're talking about. So you had people like this Bull O'Connor, that's a racist, that sat there and did not want change and segregation. He said you got to keep the whites and blacks separate. And there's people within this MAGA movement right now that claim to be Christian that still has that mindset. Let's look at some clips.
In order to have true freedom of association, you have to repeal the Civil Rights Act, because that is in literally fighting against the Constitution. The two cannot exist at the same time. Barry Goldwater even talked about that back, when this was a thing. He was talking about how the civil rights regime was going to be built out. It would end freedom of association. And ultimately, what has it given white people? No rights. It's given political prisoners, thought crimes, censorship, banning. And now we can't have our own spaces, but they can have their own black everything and be in all our white spaces. All of this because they couldn't drink in the same water fountain or use the same toilet. Was it really that big of a deal?
And I'll tell everybody, and I'll say it everywhere I go, the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most, not racist, but marginalized people in America is white men. That's a fact, brother. We are the new minority, if you will, because we literally, and I don't mean that as a racist statement, but if you're a white man, you get no rights, no privileges, no consideration in this nation anymore. It's been taken over by DEI. Next. It's the truth whether you want to hear it or not.
Why doesn't Patriot Front use the term white as much? And I believe that white is a great adjective more than it is an identity in and of itself. I assert that our primary use of the name of our nation, the name of our people, is Americans. We are Americans. We are not white Americans because there are no other kind of Americans than those who are white and from Europe.
And as you see there, these folks have big platforms. They associate with many people that are connected directly. And many of them that are talking, connected directly to Donald Trump, connected right to him, It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that these folks are the new Bull O'Connors, is who they are. These MAGA pastors, these MAGA YouTube prophets and teachers, and the ones that promote this Christian takeover of the nation, trying to take over the world. So let's look at some more clips, just in case you kind of, well, maybe not. Let's look at some more.
And you're not an American because originally you were slaves and you didn't even have value in terms of the political system. Then they were given like 3/8 of the value, right?
3/5.
3/5. Thank you. In my world, it was 3/8, but I live in a utopia. No, I'm just kidding. But it was like 3/5, and you go down, and it's like then amendments were made, and there was adjustments that gave you citizenship and the right to vote, but it didn't make you an American. It just gave you American citizenship. It gave you legal right. And that's why it doesn't take a genius to notice that black people and white people in America look, act, behave fundamentally different, both individually and collectively. Now, that's not to say that black people aren't valuable in the eyes of God. It's not to say that white people are better than black people, even if they are. No, I'm kidding.
In terms of a grade, A++, I know Trump likes his his superlatives. So, I mean, he's doing excellent. Right out of the gate, we have seen what I was telling people I thought we would see and was really hoping that we would see, and that he's organized, he knows what he wants to do, and he's going after it. He's clearly staffed up his administration right out the gate with like absolute experts and people who are our guys, so to speak, people who are swimming in the waters that we're swimming in. It seems like on every cylinder, Trump 2.0 is shock and awe, pursuing a fantastic conservative and right-wing agenda that Christians absolutely can and should be excited about.
The apostolic clarity that's coming right now is coming from King Donald Trump, but it extends even over the church because he is a fellow believer, and every single one of his values that he lays out there are biblical values.
The right is two things. It is Christian nationalism and white nationalism. Blending those two things together is the project that we are engaged upon right now. Those two things equal America.
It's coming from the women. It's coming from the men. We're 3/5 of this mindset that the 3/5 of a person that they still have, they don't see us in the same light. Why do you think? As you see here, look at Tim Scott. Tim Scott, one of the more experienced senators out of a lot of them jokers that's in Trump's administration, couldn't even get a job. You know why I think? And look at Byron Donald and sucking up to people, kissing butt while he was, during the campaign of things. But look at them too. Both of them are in interracial marriages. Both of them. And I believe that played a role, especially for Tim Scott, to not be able to get a job within the administration. And I believe also that if it wasn't for the Supreme Court justice, and I done drew a blank on his daggone name, the black guy, I don't know, but look, he's married to a white woman. And I believe that when he retires or so, yes, I believe if it wasn't for him being married to a white woman, that you would see interracial marriage, that be on the chopping block. I truly believe that would be on the chopping block. So you have these people that are continuously claiming to be Christian, claiming to love the Lord, claiming to care about others. But you have yet to hear any of these major leaders, any of these so-called internet-style prophets and teachers and all of them say, you know what? No. Especially these leaders at the top that are connected to Donald Trump. You don't hear none of them say, no. Wait a minute, Mr. President. You know, we support you. We were supporting you for these particular things. But you know what? There's a line. You've crossed the line with sitting there and allowing people to be starved to death and think that is okay. Allowing people to be cut with their programs that provided for the poor and don't care about the poor and doing things for your rich buddies and that's, you know, putting the foot on the necks of those that you don't agree with in society, and that you're just being lawless and you're breaking the law. You say you love law enforcement and you care about the law, but then you pardon people that harmed police officers. Nobody's standing up. These so-called evangelicals. You know why? Because they're Bull O'Connors is who they are. Their hearts are nothing but just like a Bull O'Connor. They want things separated within the society. They want to take over. And then they want to use the Christianity to use it as the takeover. They want to twist the word, just like it was. And when I was in Cincinnati several years back and we went to a museum there, I can't think of the museum, but it's got all of the things. It's got the old KKK robe in it, historical museum. And there is a Bible in there. And the Bible's got several pages of it missing, because this was what they used to try to keep us with their foot on our necks, to make us believe that we were, servants, that we weren't, this is how you follow the orders because it's right here in the Word of God. But it was an incomplete Bible. And this is how they treated us decades ago like that. But this is right now, this is why Latinos, all the people of color, we've got to stand together. And those of you, and this is not a knock against my white friends. I got plenty of white friends. I love my white people. But we're talking about those that claim to be Christian. Those that say they love Jesus. That's who we're talking about here. We all have to stand together and push back against this kind of stuff that has infiltrated the church, that has infiltrated his beautiful message. His message is not a message of hate. His message is not a message of division. His message is not a message of lies. Jesus never told the disciples, I want you to go to the government. I want you to get in government high places so that you can enact my message, to be able to make sure that the people follow the gospel. He never said that. He never said, go to the king and make sure that everybody is forced to be subjected to me, that they're forced to learn about me, that they're forced to learn my ways and do as told. He never said that. But these people, this is what they want. It's okay. Why can't these believers, and why can't they see that for some reason, that why is people of color in every Latinos, Middle Eastern, blacks, why is it that it's a total attack coming from white evangelicals like this? Why? And they're using, just like we talked about, Bull O'Connor had the authority with the fire department, the authority with the police department to unleash the dogs. Well, as I just said a few moments back there, Trump is the dog, and his cronies is who they found the dog that they can use to unleash on the people, so they can get their white supremacist message out there and get things and get all of us in order in some kind of way, and use it hiding under the banner of Christianity. But in actuality, they're nothing but white supremacists, white nationalists. This ain't Christianity. This is not Christianity. So I close with this. I close with the question. The question is, all of these so-called MAGA pastors, all of these so-called YouTube MAGA that promote this MAGA movement, that promote Trump, all of these people that continue to say that he's godlike. And once again, this is for people that are claiming to be Christian. These are people that's claiming that Trump is anointed by God to save America. These are people that are making these claims. Here's the question for them. If a person of color married or was in a relationship with your son or your daughter, how would they feel about that? That's the question. How would they feel if somebody was dating their daughter, a black man was dating their daughter, or a Latino man's dating their white daughter, or vice versa, or a Middle Eastern, a Muslim guy was dating their daughter, or vice versa, or black, you name that. You'll find out. You find out where they stand as far as where are they as far as when they claim that they love the Lord. If they claim that they are followers of Jesus Christ, that's the question. And I believe a whole lot of them would be totally eliminated. Totally eliminated. Because these folks, they want to move certain groups, just like as you saw in the messages. They want total control. They're trying to make like they're under this great attack, and they've got to make sure. This is why they want the birth rates to come back up. This is why they want to ban birth control. This is why they're that, because the census is showing that diversity is on the rise. And as you see in this Trump administration, there's no diversity. There's no diversity at all. It's a bunch of white supremacist style men in charge of everybody that they get to enact and so that they can control everybody. I hate to say it, and I have to tell it like it is, but it's unfortunate. This is what we have. And you have pastors, these MAGA style pastors that are right there, just like it was in the South back in the day. Pastor Edgar A. Killings and all of them, that these radical white supremacists, they're all everywhere now. And they're trying to play nice. But yeah, let a person of color come into your family and want to date one of your loved ones or something. Oh, let's see where they are. Let's see if the love of Jesus that they claim that's within them, where does it come at? And I'll close with this. This is why, because of the next video when I make it, I don't know if I'm going to be the next video, but it's coming up. When I talk about this, America not being a Christian nation and all of these things, this is why it's disgusting. Why would somebody, a black, and I have to say that and this is being truthful, it's disgusting to see black men, some of these younger guys that's on these platforms that claim to be pastors, claim to be prophets, claim to love the Lord and all of this, and they think that it's okay to turn back the hands of time and take us back to the civil rights era, pre-civil rights era. What a disgrace. People are rolling in their graves, and shame on them, and shame on anybody that's using the Lord to push their false agenda. And on this channel, we'll continue to call it out. We'll continue to talk about the issues the church run away from. We'll continue to tackle Satan and his tactics and punch her right in between the chops. Evangelism for God is the channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. Until the next video, my friends, take care. God bless.